Hello everyone, this is Latasha Blanton from the Real South Africa Travel and Tourism. And you're going to have the opportunity to travel with Phil Scott to
sunny South Africa. You guys are going to have the opportunity to come to Johannesburg, and you guys are going to be coming to Durban. And we're going to set it up perfectly. It's going to be like a luxury experience for you guys. At the same time, you're going to be getting some culture. And of course, you're going to get an opportunity to talk to Phil, hang out with Phil, and get his views on Africa and South Africa.
You're also going to get an opportunity to explore the lifestyles here that are available in South Africa. And we're going to do all that for you in an amazing 10 days. We do hope that you go to the website and book, because we do look forward to seeing you here.
Absolutely. Our website is therealsouthafrica.com. Go there, scroll down. You'll see a picture of Phil, and just go ahead and book there. So we'll see you here in what we like to call sunny South Africa.
In this particular video, we're going to discuss that of Representative Barbra Lee from California. Now, she was on CNN and she was talking about that of Republican candidate for president, Nikki Haley, and her confusion about racism. Y'all remember when she was asked about the Civil War, she said, oh, it was about business, and, you know, really kind of denying that America has been racist and all of that. Well, this is what Representative Barbra Lee said. Check it out.
These are not little kinks, first of all. Racism, institutional racism, is in the DNA of this country. When you look at what has taken place, look at our Native Americans, the genocide of Native Americans. When you look at what is taking place as it relates to African Americans, the 250 years plus of enslaving African Americans, and then you look at the disparities now in our community in terms of health care, unemployment, the wealth gap, housing. You can't tell me that systemic racism does not exist. It's not just a little kink. Secondly, you have personal racism, which is hard to address, but I'll give you one little story that shows you why we need to understand that I don't think she really understands racism. I was walking from the House building on Capitol Hill to the Capitol, and a man, a white guy, stopped me and told me I could not get into the members' elevator. And, you know, we have pins, and I was going to vote. And he blocked me from getting into the elevator and told me I was not a member of Congress and it was for members only. I said, sir, I'm a member of Congress. And I showed him my pen, and he said, whose pen did you steal? Now, this is an example of what personal racism is and how people of color constantly have to deal with this each and every day. But systemic racism is in the policies of this country, and just look at what they're trying to do in terms of eliminating diversity, equity, and inclusion. They're trying to not allow for an equal and level playing field, and so it's a very dangerous position that she has. She's clueless.
So as you heard her mention, she says, you know, they're trying to get rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion. She also likened everybody, you know, to people of color. We know that as Black people in America, we are Black Americans. We are not lumped in with people of color. She also talked about the Native Americans and the genocide that they went through, of course, you know, with the Pilgrims and all of that. She also, again, talked about institutional racism. But then if you notice, too, Angela Rye, who is some sort of a political pundit and has been on CNN and a whole host of other things. She's now one of the members of the Native Land podcast. Of course, it's political season, so they're going to get on there and tell y'all about how you need to continue to vote for more nothing and all of that. She says, basically, you know, Barbra Lee from the CBC, Congressional Black Caucus, she's breaking it on down what, you know, racism is, the basics, right? And so it's like, is she really? Now, of course, she talked about personal racism there, right? When she was going to enter into the Capitol, some white man stopped her and, you know, said, this is for congressional members. And she says, I am a congressional member, showed her badge and everything like that. Now, I should say there's some on the right, conservatives are calling her Jussie Smollett. They're saying, basically, she lying. They don't believe her story. I don't know if it's true or not. I'll take her at her word. But nevertheless, as I got to thinking about the things that she says, now remember, she's of the Congressional Black Caucus, Congressional Black Caucus, which means that they're supposed to advocate for Black people, right? Well, in case you didn't know, I'm going to read to you their mission statement there from the Congressional Black Caucus. Since its establishment in 1971, the Congressional Black Caucus has been committed to using the full constitutional power, statutory authority, and financial resources of the federal government to ensure that African Americans and other marginalized communities in the United States have the opportunity to achieve the American dream. Y'all notice how I said "and"? Because they said African Americans and other marginalized communities. Now, I, a while ago, went on all the other caucuses' website and looked at their mission statement, and I didn't see no "and other marginalized communities." I saw just for their people. But here you are with the Congressional Black Caucus, which would explain why she, being Barbra Lee, was talking about Native Americans and people of color and all that, because in their own mission statement, they said, well, we gonna help black people, maybe, because we ain't really seen too much help, right? And other marginalized people, which they have fully been on board with helping other marginalized communities. And so Angela Wright talking about she breaking it on down. No, she's not. She's actually exposing herself. She's actually exposing herself and the other members of Congress, the Congressional Black Caucus, I should say, and that they really care little for black people, but they're there to help everybody else. How do you talk about everybody else and you're supposed to be for black people? But we know that's how it is in this country. We're going to talk about everybody else, which is why Dr. Claude Anderson said to us as black people, stop calling yourself minorities, because minorities include everybody else. Stop calling yourself people of color, because people of color includes everybody else. And recently I noticed that the Biden administration, via somebody who was defending Obama, they said people of color and Hispanics. Before it was people of color, after we said, nah, we ain't people of color, right? They were saying people of color and black people. Now they're saying people of color and Hispanics. So it's like, what's going on with that? But nevertheless, you know, Barbra Lee is talking about racism, but she ain't really talking about black people. She's talking about her personal racism that's happened to her. But again, what have they done to actually legislate for black people? Now, of course, on their website, they talk about, oh, we're going to, you know, get federal dollars for education and, you know, a whole bunch of other stuff. But again, that's for African Americans and other marginalized communities. Now, there's a lot of people in other marginalized communities, right? Asians are marginalized. Women are marginalized. White women are marginalized because we know that they were the biggest beneficiary of affirmative action, right? And, you know, the LGBTQ, they're a marginalized community. So you can think of a whole lot of marginalized communities that does not include black people. But you can also see the proof is in the pudding that the other marginalized communities are actually getting the help. But there she is, and Angela Wright, which she chaps my hide. She really does. But she's there talking about, break it on down, Barbara. Bring it on down. Well, she hasn't broken anything down. Again, as I said, she's exposed herself. So if you guys need any more proof that the Congressional Black Caucus or anybody there in Congress that says that they're for black people, whether they care about black people or not, there's your proof right there. They don't. They don't care about black people, because she told you right out of her mouth. I'm talking about everybody else. Yeah, I mentioned black people, but who has she and her homies actually helped? That's where you do your measuring. So anyway, before I leave, if you could please go to africandiasporanews.org and invest in an app that we have built just for you. So that way we can be our beautiful black selves on our own app. So that way we don't have to worry about being censored. You know what I mean? Like we are on other people's apps. And in the meantime, please subscribe to this channel and my channel, The Demetra Kaye Show, here on YouTube.